So there's been big change in how we measure stuff recently, in that GA4 has become the sort of standard thing that people are using for analytics. And that's brought in quite a big move towards this more data-driven attribution away from last click, sorry. So we need to think about that stuff quite a lot more. So Alex has joined us from Entropy to give us some tips about how you can modernize and maximize the amount of growth you get through these models. So Alex, what's your first tip?
So my first tip would be to self-reflect on what form of attribution you're using, and is that limiting your growth? I've always been, before Entropy, I've always been client side. And if I think back actually even further than 10 years, I was leading a project at a big multinational, trying to get them to move beyond last click to a more multi-touch digital attribution approach. And it really changed their media mix significantly, and more importantly, really led to a lot of incremental profit for the business by changing their media mix. And that's what we found time and time again, really. Like, the form of attribution you use is so important in the amount of growth, the amount of profit you can drive for your business. So I'd fundamentally start with, are you using last click? I know from talking to a lot of people at IMRG Connect last month that a lot of people do. There's nothing wrong with that. But best practice these days is to use a combination of different approaches. So use in-platform, like the Google solutions, Meta, etc., alongside a structured approach to testing, but also along statistical, more holistic approaches like marketing mix modeling, also known as MMM and econometrics.
Okay, so there's no wrong approach, but there's righter ones. What's your second one?
Well, the second one's actually, sometimes you can get a bit myopic in looking at digital data and reporting, but it's to take a step back and actually ask yourself, what business or marketing questions do you want attribution to answer? So, for example, obviously, what's the ROI of my media channels? That's an important one. What's driving my business performance? How do I optimize my channel mix for the best performance? When am I spending too much on media? And you can ask other questions like, how much should you spend to meet your sales target?
Yeah. Okay. So ask the right questions. What's your third one?
I'm focusing specifically in some of these answers now on econometrics and marketing mix modeling, because it's quite an emerging area, an area that we focus on, and it's more and more relevant to more brands. But actually, one of the first steps that you want to do in thinking about a more holistic approach like that is actually, what are the drivers of your business performance? And as well as the digital and non-digital channels that we've already talked about, that can include things like pricing and promotion, can include seasonality, can include the weather, what your competitors are doing, brand equity, and factors like that.
Yeah, find the right drivers. Fair enough. Tip 4.
I think tip 4 is really, and again, this is another sort of econometric point, and it almost feels like a bit of the Holy Grail of attribution, but make sure that you're using an approach which offers a full and fair approach to attribution across all of your marketing and sales channels, so that you're comparing apples for apples. And MMM and econometrics helps you do that in a changing landscape. Everyone's encountering measurement issues at the moment, as all IMRG members are acutely aware of. That a sort of statistical approach to attribution like MMM allows you to overcome some of the issues that people are encountering because of the decline of the cookie, walled gardens, and the iOS changes that have come in, and as well as measuring all the factors like non-digital channels and external performance drivers. It also lets you measure omnichannel, which I know is obviously really relevant to a lot of IMRG members. So you can measure the impact from your spend onto other channels, including retail channels as well as online.
Yeah. Okay. So find the Holy Grail. And what's your final one?
And the final one is really to ensure that it's all very well doing all of this, but you obviously want the actions to be bought into by the business and timely. And so our final tip is to really think about your business process and about plugging it into your planning rhythms. So making sure that by doing that and having the right stakeholders involved, you're proving and improving your performance. And there are various sort of techniques around econometrics that are emerging at the moment. We've been exploring lots of them at Entropy that allow you a faster and cheaper way of looking at econometric attribution. That means actually that these days a lot of brands can use it every quarter, which various clients of ours do, and you can use that as part of your planning process. But it's important too, with all of those insights, to ensure that they're translated in quite a simple and easy to understand way for key decision makers in your business. And one of the ways that we do that is, rather than it just being all of the analysis and econometricians presenting it back, is we blend it with e-commerce expertise and media expertise as well, so that the people that are obviously sort of presenting it back are doing it in a way that's very digestible to the senior stakeholders that need to take it forward to maximise the growth of your business.
Okay, yep. So find the right rhythms, which, as you can see, I'm quite interested in myself. Alex, thanks a lot for that.